Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Chow with Lau, and today we're going to do one of my all-time favourite recipes, satay beef. So guys, I'm really excited today because I am cooking satay beef, and if you ask anybody who knows me, this is the recipe I come back to over and over again. It's my comfort food, and there's a reason for that, because it is simply delicious and very simple to make, and I am going to show you how to do it today. So for this recipe you are going to need some beef. Today I've got 250 grams of sirloin steak. You can use other cuts of meat if you prefer. If you're on a budget, you can even use roast beef joints, which in a minute I'll tell you how to make really tender. You'll also need about 300 milliliters of water, bit of salt and pepper, half an onion roughly chopped, one large pepper, or as I've got here, 2 small peppers. I've also got a courgette, or a zucchini as they call it in America, a couple of cloves of garlic, tablespoon of sugar, and a tablespoon of corn flour mixed with water thickening. And last but certainly not least, about a teaspoon or so of light soy sauce. So without further ado, get your woks ready! As the consummate professional that I am, I actually forgot to mention the most vital ingredient in the whole recipe, which is the actual satay sauce. Okay, you probably saw it on my table and thought, why isn't he actually referring to that? Do you think it is invisible or something? No, it's really here. This is the satay sauce that I always use. Yes, you're probably thinking this is cheating. If you want to say it's cheating, you can. I've never come across a recipe or a way of making it that beats this stuff. It's called Jimmy's satay sauce. You can buy it from all Chinese and Asian supermarkets. Hashtag not sponsored. Nobody's paying me or even giving me a reference for using this stuff. I have used this for years and years. My family's takeaway uses this. This is the stuff that makes satay come alive. It is proper stuff, and it's not like a peanut butter kind of sauce, which satay obviously has peanuts in it. It's quite light. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's very unctuous, and I can eat a lot of this stuff. For your recipe, you're going to need about 2 tablespoons. You can vary that according to how hot you like your satay. 2 tablespoons works for me. You can add less if you don't want so much spice. You can add more if you like a more fiery sauce. You can even add more chilies if you like really hot food. 2 tablespoons for this recipe does it for me. Right guys, so the first thing we've got to do is to prepare our beef. Like I said, I've got a sirloin steak here, about 250 grams. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into strips. So initially I'm going to take off the fat. I don't mind if there's fat in the dish because I quite like that and it adds flavour, but I know a lot of people don't like it, so we can just trim that off as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into strips, and we want it about that kind of size, not too thick, not too big, because we want it to cook quickly. We're stir frying after all. And so as I mentioned before, you don't have to use steak. You can use a cheaper cut of meat. You can use roasting joints, which pound for pound is a lot cheaper. And what we do with that, because obviously that kind of meat is probably going to be quite tough if you stir fry it, what we do is we add corn flour to it, and that breaks down the fibres and makes it really tender. I'm going to leave a card in the corner of the screen so you can go to the recipe. I think it's my kung po recipe, which shows you exactly how to do that. So give that a look and you'll see exactly how I do it, and I guarantee it will make your meat really tender. The technique is called velveting. Okay, it's something that a lot of restaurants and takeaways use, so check it out, and if you want to use a cheaper cut of meat, do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to roughly chop the garlic. Doesn't have to be too fine for this recipe. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like to have chunks of garlic in their food, so you can cut it finer if you like. And then we're going to go for the peppers. I picked small peppers so we can have one of each for extra colour, and the red ones tend to be a little bit sweeter than the green ones, although they both give a nice flavour. I like putting peppers in this kind of dish, stir-fry dishes, because it just gives a little bit of crunch to the dish, and that's always nice. And because of the way we cook things, they don't overcook, they don't go too soggy, and that's quite important. When it comes to putting vegetables in this dish, there's a lot of flexibility. Some people might not like peppers. I've picked the courgette or the zucchini because it was in the fridge. And I'm thinking, I've not tried it with this recipe before, but I'm thinking it's going to taste rather nice. So whatever you have in your fridge that you think might be suitable is fair game. I've done broccoli before. Broccoli's nice in it. What else do I put in it? You can put mushrooms in it. You can put runner beans in it, peas in it, anything you want. Whatever takes your fancy, really. When it comes to cutting the courgette or the zucchini, I'm going to do quite thick, chunky slices, not too thin, because I want it to hold its shape, not go mushy, and to have a little bit of bite to it. And I'm going to add the whole courgette. I was thinking about half, but actually the more I cut it, the more I want to use all of it. Okay, and of course the half onion, I've already chopped it roughly, and that's ready to go. So on to the next step, the stir fry. Right guys, it's time for the heat. Get your wok nice and hot. Okay. When it comes to woks, I use a non-stick because it's easy. You can use whatever you like. Even a big frying pan is okay. My job here is to teach you to do this with whatever you've got, within reason, of course. If you've got a proper Chinese wok that you've seasoned, great. But if you haven't, this will do the job pretty much just as well. Okay, so the wok is really nice and hot. We're going to put about a tablespoon of cooking oil. That can be vegetable oil, rapeseed oil. Don't use sesame oil or olive oil because those have very, very low flash points, which means they'll burn, and you don't want that. You want something that can actually take the heat, and we want very high heats for stir frying. Okay, so when that's gone to temperature, which this is, I'm going to put in the beef. Now, it's really important that once you put the beef in, try not to touch it too much for about 30 seconds or so, because that allows the beef to sear and caramelize and get you that nice sort of crust on it, if you like. Otherwise, you're kind of braising the beef, which is not as nice. The texture is not as nice. Once you've had it in for about 30 seconds, then you can turn it and then do the same to another side, and then we can do the proper stir frying. Okay. So we've got about 30 seconds out of this now, I think. So keep the heat really high. Don't be tempted to turn it down. Can you see? We've got a nice caramelization. It's going brown, and it's going to sort of seal in the flavour very nicely indeed. Okay, so I've got the garlic in with the onions, so I'm going to put that all at the same time. And we can get that going. And once that's been in there for a few seconds, we can add the rest of the chunky vegetables. And as the case with most Chinese stir-fry cooking, the ratio of vegetables to meat is a very healthy one, which is good. And this dish will feed 2 to 3 people, depending on your appetites and what you are, you know, what how much you like this dish. Well, if it was just me, I'd probably eat this all on my own. But that's just me. Don't forget, when you're doing these dishes, maybe it's worth combining. If you look through, I've got 20 odd recipes now, I think, on my channel. It's worth mixing and matching, seeing what you like and then sharing it amongst your family and your friends. And that's the way to eat Chinese style. Okay, so we're going to add some salt, just a good pinch of salt and a good pinch of black pepper. Stir that in. And all the time I've got the flame on full. I never turn it down at this stage. Never. As you can see, the vegetables are still nice and crisp. Okay, at this stage, I'm now going to add our satay sauce. So 2 nice big tablespoons of satay sauce, or satay paste as it is now. And I'm going to stir fry this into the ingredients, and this will kind of coat your vegetables and your meat and help kind of sort of imbue flavour straight into your vegetables and your meat. You can see it's got a really nice colour. If you could smell this now, it is so, so delicious. I can't really compare it to anything else. You can smell the sweetness, you can smell the heat. At this point I'm going to add my 300 ml of water. So we're going to start making our sauce from here. We're going to get that up to temperature. And as we're waiting for that, we can add our tablespoon of sugar. You can use honey if you like. It's all good. I think maybe using honey, you would lose the honey flavour and the taste in the satay, because the satay is quite a powerful flavour. You can try if you like. I have before, but I haven't really noticed too much difference. I'm just going to wait for that to go into a nice boil again for us. We can add a splash of light soy sauce to give it a little bit more saltiness. And soy sauce brings to it more than just saltiness. It brings to it that soy flavour. It's a subtle difference, but it is a difference than just adding plain salt. Okay, as we're getting this to heat, the meat and the vegetables are still cooking. Okay, and now we're getting it to boil. The beef will be just coming up to being done now, and the vegetables are starting to soften a little bit, which we want, but still on the whole nice and crispy and crunchy. Okay, that's got a nice boil on it. And finally, to complete the dish, I'm going to stir this corn flour into the water, because it tends to kind of solidify out, so if you're not careful you'll only put the water in. So just stir it in. And then we add it all to the dish. And that'll begin to thicken. There you have it, guys. Let it boil just for a few more seconds. And that is your satay beef. Get your taste buds ready. Right guys, the moment of truth. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Feast your eyes as I feast my stomach. Right, I'm going to need an implement. I'm just going to go for a plain spoon this time. Let's try a bit of the sauce in the rice. That's lovely. The satay spice is beautiful. There's a sweetness. It just goes well. I could just eat the sauce and the rice, but I'm not. The beef is just tender, lovely, and it's just full of that flavour. You can feel the heat going to the back of my throat. That's just lovely. That is bang on for me. I wouldn't want it any hotter than that, but it's just nice. And the courgettes. I've got to say that works really well. I wasn't sure how the courgette or the zucchini was going to work with the satay sauce, but it seems to have absorbed the flavour, because courgettes or zucchinis do not have a huge amount of flavour in themselves. They're nice, but they're quite mild. So when the sauce goes into it, it picks it up, and it just has that lovely texture and that bite with the sauce as well. Oh, so nice. And the peppers. There is a reason why I make this dish over and over and over again. It is my comfort food. It is so nice, especially when the weather's not so good outside. It just warms you up. So there you have it. Beef satay. Hope you love this video. Go try the recipe, and if you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe and the notification button and all those good things. And I'm trying to grow the channel, so with your help, by the end of this year, I want to hit 1,000 subscribers, and that would be so great. So thank you so much for watching and all your support. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.